The following announcement has been paid for by the
Elite Mark Order.
Welcome to the Elite Mark Order podcast, where we talk about all things AEW related, and tonight we discuss the AEW Dynamite from October 25th, 2023. I've got a PhD in THC. I'm the Doctor of Pot, CosmicScott, and I'm joined tonight by my partner and co-host, who is definitely retired from wrestling this time. He promises, JayV. How are you, Jay?
Hey, doing good. Awesome show tonight, and looking forward to talking about it. So much going on. Some good stuff.
All right. Well, if you haven't already, give us a subscribe, hit that like button, leave a comment down below with your thoughts about tonight's Dynamite. It does help with the algorithm, and we're on the drive to 1,000, so hit a subscribe if you could. Good Lord, my tongue is tied, because you're right. It was a pretty good show. Now, personally for me, the big segment is going to be talking about RIC FLAIR. What the hell are they doing? This is the big historic present that Tony Khan had for Sting. What the hell was that?
Yeah, I mean, just to jump right in with my thoughts on it, I was glad to see Flair come out. I mean, Flair and Sting have, been down the road together. I thought it was good. And I think it'll be interesting to see Flair on the show. Hopefully in a limited, in a small capacity. Hopefully they don't have him out there rambling on every week for 10 minutes. But yeah, I think it's good to see Flair out there. I don't think they hyped this the right way by, Tony Khan saying that, this has never been done before, or Shivani saying it. I don't know what the exact quote was, but
historic. Yeah, he said historic in all of wrestling, never been done before. Did he just give him an old man? Is that what he did?
Flair's been involved in probably a couple dozen different retirements for different guys over the years, so I'm not sure how this hasn't been done, but hey, here we are.
I mean, okay, look, what hasn't been done before is a 70-year-old man wrestles a 60-year-old man in front of 80,000 fucking people. But that, or, 20,000 or whatever the pay-per-view is going to be, where he finally retires. Do you think it'll be against Ric Flair? Do you think they'll have their last match in AEW together and Ric Flair will finally get his wish and die in the ring?
No, I don't think Tony Khan is going to risk that happening, because that could be a death knell for the company. It's one thing when Conrad Thompson books a show and takes that risk, because, Conrad hasn't booked any shows since then. So if the worst did happen, Conrad moves on with his life. If it were to happen in AEW and Flair had a heart attack in the ring or whatever, there would be. I think that would be really difficult for the company to recover from. So I don't see Flair fighting. I just see him in a manager capacity. I see him being used to get more heat for Christian. Maybe he takes a couple bumps, but I don't see anything more than that.
You really think he's going to be used in the ring in any capacity?
I don't think he'll fight in any matches. I really don't. Okay. But I do think that he's going to be, out there with Sting for interviews and stuff.
Sure. And sure, like you said, he's basically going to be a manager. And that doesn't necessarily bother me, but so this is Sting going to be wrestling every week with Flair by his side? Or is it just going to be once a month? Well, I mean, what are they expecting out of the 64-year-old Sting? Are they going to do a tag match where it's Sting and Flair versus Christian and Copeland? Or Luchasaurus?
They're in a bit of a tough spot right now with Darby being hurt and then Darby going to climb Mount Everest, allegedly. The timing on that seems kind of up in the air right now. Like, Tony's like, we got to do Sting's retirement. You climb Mount Everest some other time. But yeah, with Darby with the broken arm, Sting can't fight singles matches. So who's Sting going to be teaming with? Are they going to team him with Hook? I mean, I don't know what they're going to do. So
is Hook just being passed around to all the old guys? Is that your plan?
Apparently, yeah.
he's the blunt that's getting passed around because he's currently with Rob. We'll get to that.
Right, that way Hook can experience everything his father did.
I don't even want to talk. I don't want to go there. I don't want to touch that. There's far too much wrong with Ric Flair in general, let alone some of the shit he did. He is not known as Space Mountain for nothing.
Right.
He's got quite the legend. Let's be honest. He's quite the legendary figure.
Space Mountain is still the oldest ride in the park, but it has the longest line.
I know the quote well. It's sad because as a child, Space Mountain was my favorite, and that quote sort of destroyed it for me over the years. Because now I associate Space Mountain with Ric fucking Flair, and that's not always a good thing, damn it.
Right.
But no, seriously, as far as what he's going to do in AEW, I'm like, okay, so first of all, yeah, let's get over the whole how is it historic. That's just Tony being Tony, and we're going to have to get used to that. He's a promoter. He promoted. People watched. Ric Flair, it's going to be talked about. He did his job. That's it. So
yeah.
I may not like it, but that is the reality of it. And sure, he's going to be a manager. He's going to be out. He's got antics. He can always talk. We know what Ric Flair is capable of. And TBS was his home for a long time with Sting. So the precedence is there. But man, people have been saying that AEW is WCW reincarnated, huh? This is not helping that argument at all.
It depends how they use them. I mean, if they're going to start shoving them down our throats in 15-minute segments every week, then yeah, I mean, I'm going to complain about it. But I'm not sure that's how it's going to happen. I mean, we don't know how many dates Ric Flair signed for. Sting is not fighting any singles matches. He's already said that he's not going to do any singles matches. So,
he said that. Okay, I wasn't aware he'd say he'd actually declared that.
Yeah,
somewhere.
He did say that. I mean, yeah, he can't fight it.
No, nor should he be trying. Even a 5-minute, I just don't think it's wise anymore. He jumped off a fucking ladder.
Right. Well, he's still hopefully he tones that down too. But I think it'll be interesting to see what they go. There's a lot of guys involved here. You know, there's the Edge thing. I mean, you got, I don't know if I can call him Edge or like
Copeland.
Get mad. But
you can call him Edge because Tony Khan will pay the fines. You know, he's on. We're part of the corporation, so he'll pay the fines when we talk about the other companies. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, but I think it's like what we're looking to get is like Sting and Edge against Christian, and you got to think Nick Wayne because Luchasaurus.
Yeah. No, it's got to be Nick.
Sting or Edge. I guess Edge. Well, yeah, Edge did fight Luchasaurus.
Lucha is a safe enough wrestler in general, from what I've seen. He's not explosive. He's not huge. He's talented enough, and damn is he smart because he's a book guy and a nerd and a role player and all that. You can tell he's a big fucking lizard. He's great. I love him, but I do think Nick Wayne in the ring with any of those legends is only going to improve his overall ability. There was another great example of that later in the show where there's a glaring difference in star power with 3 of the people in the match and 1. And you're like, man, I really want him to be a star in this level, but he really isn't yet. We'll get to that one. You may know what I'm talking about, Jay.
I'm not sure yet.
You're not picking up what I'm putting down, but we will get to it, I promise. So any last thought? Realistically, I don't know what he's going to do with Ric Flair. We know in the past he's done a great job of working with the legends, except necessarily Arn. Everybody else has been dealt with well. And again, Arn he dealt with respect at least. So I expect he'll look good. He's made Sting look like $1 million fucking bucks again and reestablish his cred. So we'll see where it goes, you know? What else could go wrong other than having him on the show and giving him a live microphone?
Yeah, I do like seeing Nick Wayne involved with the veterans like this. I think it's pretty cool. Like I actually went to Ric Flair's last match. I believe it was last summer, and Nick Wayne was on that card. So I thought it was cool where you had the lineage of And I brought this up before on the podcast.
You did.
have Nick Wayne on the same show as Ric Flair, and I think that's pretty wild. So now, I mean, I don't think Flair's going to fight again, but it's going to be cool to see them. I mean, there should be some interaction with Ric Flair and Nick Wayne at some point. I hope Nick Wayne at least gets to work one chop from Flair on TV. So.
You know they'll work it in. They worked a chop in against Sting in this segment tonight, so there's no reason why they shouldn't have the opportunity to have interactions on the floor during matches. It's going to be a feud that's going to go a couple of weeks, couple of months. Christian's a professional. He's elevating Luchasaurus. He's elevating Nick. And then you got Sting and Flair. Darby's already a star, but he's going to elevate them. You add Edge. There's a lot of star power. So, maybe he can get some eyes on the product finally. TK, keep booking some stuff. Like Okada being on this show. Let's move on to the next segment, which I think is probably the most important of the night, is that final match with Okada, Orange Cassidy, and the Blackpool Combat Club, which consisted of good old Claudio Castagnoli, the Swiss Superman, and Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon. That was a pretty interesting match with a very odd ending, I thought. I'm not 100% sure that I'm happy with how that match went through, came out. Why don't you give me a rundown and your idea of kind of how that match was surprising?
So I thought, I mean, just that match was booked was kind of out of nowhere. Like, no one expected to see Okada show up with no build and
random Dynamite.
Yeah, and I think that's great. Like, that shit's awesome, and I'm all for it. I don't need a storyline and a build with someone pissing in someone's Cheerios for every match. So I think it was cool to see that. I mean, there was some history between the Chaos faction and BCC. It's not the first time Okada has gone against the BCC. Of course, Okada fought Danielson at Forbidden Door when Danielson's arm was broken.
Yep.
So yeah, it's almost like now that Danielson is back and Danielson is winding down his career, I think he's going to jump at the opportunity, to be in the ring with Okada. Like, I don't know if New Japan has something going on in the US right now, but yeah, I mean, Okada calls up Tony and says, "Hey Tony, I'm going to be in the Northeast. I'm available to work at Dynamite if you want." And Tony's like, "Oh, hell, fuck yeah, come on out, Okada. We'd love to have you on the show. We'll put you in the main event."
True.
Against Danielson and
Claudio.
Claudio, yeah, with
Orange. We'll give you a partner, the international champion, Orange Cassidy, and you won't take the pin.
So I'm surprised that, Okada offered his services and he had to take an L. I mean, he didn't lose, but he did lose their team. His team
Their
did
team
lose
lost.
the match.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was surprised about that. But I mean, ultimately, I guess, wins and losses doesn't matter here because it's not like these two teams are, going for any titles or anything. So,
well, and
I just don't know. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, that's what really surprises me is Orange Cassidy is a champion. He's the international champion. And he's a good one. He just got the belt back. And generally, you don't bet against champions in nothing tag matches like this. But for some reason, they had Orange Cassidy take the pin. Now, the choice between Cassidy and Okada, obviously, it's going to be Cassidy. And realistically, by him taking the pin, you prove that he's really not on their level. Is that the story now? That Orange really isn't as good as he used to be on his last title run? Is that the story we want to tell? So I'm not 100% sure what exactly the point was in pinning your international champion, Orange Cassidy. I honestly expected the one they teased, which was the Orange Punch, probably on Claudio because Danielson. There's no other explanation necessary.
Right.
And Claudio takes the pin, and Orange Cassidy builds the international title more. I don't really get Orange Cassidy taking the pin even though I totally understand why he took it and not Okada. Is there any sort of logic that would explain why Cassidy is getting pinned in the main event?
I mean, we've seen it before. We've seen Cassidy lose in tag matches before while he was champion. It happens, especially when you're dealing with the caliber of stars that were in this one. You know, two of the greatest of all time in Okada and Danielson, and then Claudio is just a beast. So I mean, I don't know, where do they go from here? Maybe Claudio gets a title shot at an upcoming big show, and
give him
this
the
was the
international
setup for it. Yeah. Maybe Claudio wins, maybe he doesn't. So, but at least put some interest. At least creates a story for that match to happen, you know. And I think that's a good headline for a show. I'd like to see Claudio and Orange go at it again. However, I do kind of feel sorry for Orange because, man, Claudio beats the fuck out of his opponents. He's super stiff.
He is stiff, and that swing, you know, Claudio is a very big, strong man. And again, in this match, Orange Cassidy looked like a fucking child being thrown around by him. And Danielson, as a smaller wrestler, looked huge against Cassidy. And I'm a fan of Cassidy, but god damn did he look small compared to those guys. Even Okada.
Pretty small, yeah.
I mean, I get smaller wrestlers can be good, but you stack them up against Claudio. Claudio, fuck, man, I see a lot of times I'll be watching and it doesn't catch my eye. Every now and again, I'm like, god damn, Claudio's big. You didn't notice it in WWE, the land of the fucking giants, but he really is cut from the model that Vince loves. Dude is strong as hell, and I love his moveset. So,
yeah, he's not as big as Lesnar, but he's not quite as big as Sheamus. But he wasn't that much smaller than Sheamus, and he's probably stronger than Sheamus. You know, Sheamus is a little more bulk, but that doesn't mean he's stronger. Like, Claudio's kind of wiry too.
Yeah.
Like he's one of the strongest dudes ever, I think, to compete in the ring. So.
No, that's the thing. He didn't have the bulky muscles, but he's got the strength, the core,
for sure,
and the arm. He can lift everybody, and I'd love to see the Big Show come out, and we'll get to that with Jericho. That's who I think his big friend is.
I agree. Yep.
But let's actually talk a little bit about the very beginning of the show, which started with MJF and the Dynamite ring. Because this is the finals. Juice Robinson and the Gun Club get their chance to come out and mess with MJF and, you know, take that ring and pawn it off. Now, I was quite surprised, but, you know, glad that MJF took the win here. Juice did not get to win the Dynamite ring, and MJF continues his streak. It was a pretty good match. MJF got his kangaroo kick in. He's as over as ever. And Juice looked pretty good. It was a chance to build him up and start the show extraordinarily strong with your world champion in a match that isn't a world championship, but he still gets to look good against basically half a dozen guys, taking him on with him alone. And then you have the addition of Roddy Strong and the Kingdom and their angle, and then you added the Acclaimed at the end. Holy crap. They started with a lot of pop. Now, didn't quite feel that way all the way at the end of the show, but it definitely started fairly strong. What'd you think of the opening with MJF and the Bullet Club Gold?
Well, it's kind of interesting because you got 7 different storylines going on here.
MJF, yeah.
With MJF, yeah. He's involved in 7 different storylines. He's defending the title against Jay White, who stole his belt.
That's 1.
He's got his match coming up against Kenny Omega.
That's 2. With his countdown for his undefeated his championship string, long and reign, right?
Yep. We got Wardlow.
Yep. Oh yeah, and his revenge storyline, absolutely. They did that. They had that package later in the show where Wardlow got his ability to say why he's coming after MJF. I liked it. Good build for that. You're right. That's 3.
Samoa Joe wants a rematch.
Oh yeah, King of Television.
Samoa Joe's going to help him out. He's offered his services.
That's true. He's his friend now.
You got Max Caster, who wants to apparently screw MJF. I'm not sure what's going on.
He just wants to hold his hand in the dark. That's it.
You have the MJF versus the Kingdom and Roddy.
Yep, that's 6.
And last you have Adam Cole. So
now,
Adam Cole's his partner.
I don't know.
Currently the tag team champs.
Well, okay. He does have his own plus Adam Cole with the Kingdom. So maybe there's 8 if you consider Adam Cole and the Kingdom part of his overall arcing storyline.
The Kingdom's with Roddy right now.
Right, but Adam Cole with their whole interaction involved MJF, but was a different storyline.
So how many storylines?
That's 8.
Keith Lee how many storylines is Keith Lee involved in right now?
He's got
10.
No,
14. 20.
I think you're a little on the high end. I'd say you're a little high, but that's me.
Right.
The fact is, no, Keith Lee has not got that many. He does have one storyline. He's not the world champion, and he's not a generational talent who also happens to have the ear of the boss.
Yeah.
Little slight difference in their position in the company. Now, looking at somebody like Kenny Omega, how many storylines does Kenny Omega have? Well, not just one. He's got at least 2. He's got Don Callis and the streak with MJF.
Yeah, Kenny has 2. That's more than he's had in like 2 years.
Look, I'm just happy he was on the show. He got to talk. He got a promo with an open mic. Yep. He even talked about how he didn't get an open mic since he lost the title, basically. I don't know if that was on purpose or planned or whatever, but he brought it up. And the Young Bucks were also on the show. So I don't know that you have much to complain about. I certainly don't. They also won.
That's why I said it was a great show.
That's what I'm saying. So
I got to see Kenny. I got to see the Bucks. I got to see Hanger.
Absolutely.
I got to see AEW originals used throughout the show. MJF.
Yep.
Darby.
Of course.
It was a good show tonight.
All right. So again, Juice obviously did not win the ring, but their contest, Jay White, all of that continues. He's gonna fight him soon. And that's going to be cool. So hopefully he gets to win this Saturday, but we'll see how that turns out. Because at the end of his match, not only did he have another thread come up with Kenny Omega, but they confirmed they're going to challenge this Saturday on Collision. Kenny Omega in the main event against MJF for the very first time. And it will be for the title and the reign. Do you think MJF is going to win that?
I don't know if Kenny's going to take a loss here. Kenny's definitely not going to win. But I just feel like with MJF being involved in 7 storylines and Don Callis out there, that the match is just going to end up in total chaos. There's just too much happening. We're not going to see a clean 48-minute banger between Kenny and MJF.
It's not a pay-per-view. It's just television.
Right. Well, we've had our 1-hour matches on TV, on cable.
On Dynamite. This is just
on Dynamite. We have.
This is just Collision.
Just Collision.
This isn't Toxic Collision anymore. Because we got rid of all the toxicity. Now it's just Collision.
Ace Steel signed with Impact, or I'm sorry, he signed with TNA.
Yeah. That's such a brilliant fucking move. And then of course you have Punk backstage. There's no fucking way they could afford him.
So Ace Steel bit Kenny Omega. Kenny's a nice guy, Kenny just moved on. What do you think's going to happen? What do you think's going to happen if Ace Steel bites Bully Ray?
I think he may end up tied to his sheets in a bloody mess. I don't know. I mean, you never know what Bully Ray may end up doing because he's not all there, and he's not on television every week.
Oh, memo to Ace Steel. I know you're listening. Don't bite Tommy Dreamer. Don't bite Sabu, especially because you'll probably die if you bite Sabu.
You'll get rabies.
And do not bite Bully Ray or Moose. So
Moose is a bad one. Probably people.
You probably should just
don't bite people.
Should not bite anybody.
Yeah, don't bite people is a good rule. I think in general to live your life is don't bite people.
Leave the biting to Larry.
Yes. And speaking of, Larry, special message to you. I know you're listening. Okay, so I just had to tell him real quick that he really should not pee on the comic book collection of the people that take care of him.
Got you.
Because comic books are valuable.
If Krill was here, you would have scared him. You would have scared his cats. So
I know. It's a shame. Speaking of, Demon Cat is actually friendly to me now. I'm her favorite human. She actually tolerates me and comes up, lets me pet her. So I've broken through, and Demon Cat is no more. Her name is Kit Kat again.
All right, that's good.
So after the match, I just want to recap this again real quick. We forgot, not only did the Kingdom come out and offer their services for Max against the Bullet Club Gold, but the Acclaimed came out and offered their services. And that's another storyline that is with one of the most popular groups they have, the Acclaimed. It's surprising that they actually have a little bit of a plot for them, because the trios titles really haven't done much. And they had the actual 6-man for ROH on it, wrestling, but the trios didn't wrestle. So there's a lot of fucking titles in this company, and some of them, maybe they shouldn't matter anymore. Maybe they should be put to rest. Or, I know this seems crazy, wrestle for the belts on their show.
I'm okay with the ROH trios titles being defended if they are defended by the Elite.
Well, sure.
I'm okay with that.
Well, sure. I mean, we'll make the exception for the Elite because we're Elite fans. But, like, Brian Cage and the Gates of Agony, thankfully, got, like, one match. And they lost the belts. So I just think that enough with the ROH stuff. Let's use it a lot more sparingly. And if the main belts are on your main AEW people, maybe there's a problem. There's a disparate. Maybe the best of ROH should be on television. You know who I mean by that? I mean Athena and Billy Starks. They should be on the television, because, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a damn entertaining duo, is it not, Jay?
Yeah, they've been killing it on ROH. I have not gone back and watched from last Thursday, but apparently their segment was awesome. So I do have to go back and check that out. And I'm sure Billy and Athena are going to get their call up soon, especially after the pathetic performance that we saw tonight between Sheta and Ruby.
We'll get to that. That's
yeah. So I think that Ruby may have worn out her welcome. I'm not even sure what's going on with Saraya. Let's get
to that one. Because Athena and Billy are entertaining as shit. Yep. And they deserve to be on television. The Minions gimmick, you've shared a couple of clips. I've watched some of it. It's good. Why not put that on television? I know that you got it on Ring of Honor, the Cast of Honor, or whatever it's called, Honor Cast, whatever the show is. But, put them on TV. You got everybody else from fucking Ring of Honor up with the belts on television. Why not the women's? But then again, why not Chris Statlander, your secondary belt? Hell, why not have 2 segments with women in it? Even if one is just an interview and it's not right before the women's match. Unfortunately, this has been a complaint for a couple of years now, and it's starting to sound like it's falling on deaf ears. Why the fuck would they book shit this way? Tony listens to us. Why is he not listening to us on the women's matches?
I'm thinking, Billy and Athena might need a little more time with their thing they got going on. Billy especially, as she hasn't done a lot of big time TV stuff.
Nick Wayne hasn't either.
She'll be, and Nick Wayne doesn't. He's had a couple matches.
He's on TV more than she is.
He's mostly standing around.
I'd love to see Billy Stark standing up fucking round.
Well, maybe it'll happen sooner than later. We'll see.
Maybe. I'm just saying.
What I want to see.
Yeah, please.
What I want to see is Nick Wayne versus Billy Starks at All In at Wembley. That they should main event. Would love to see that.
A title for title. Title for title.
No, we can't do that.
No,
okay. But they can. They are 1-1 in their series, so I am waiting for the rubber match between Nick and Billy, and hopefully it happens at All In someday.
You think it'll happen on AEW TV? All right, that's a fair enough future idea. Why not? Why not? They're a progressive company.
That's right.
They could have a big old strong man beating up a tough ass strong woman. Who knows?
Billy's probably stronger than him.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. She's a strong, fucking tough girl. She is young, but that girl is scrappy. I've seen a few of her matches on Dark Elevation, and she may have gotten hurt, but she was scrappy through all of them. She bloodied her nose. She bloodied Tony Storm. Tony bloodied her, or Saraya bloodied. Somebody bloodied or Britt. She wrestled the best on Dark and Elevation, and she did a fucking great job. I think she deserves a lot more time. That's my point. And you introduced me to her, so I'm giving you all the credit for my fandom.
All right.
Speaking of fandom, I got to see, once again, my favorite wrestler of all time. The man, the myth, the legend, the guy who's got the highest 5-star frog splash in all of sports and entertainment. The whole fucking show. Rob Van Dam and Hook versus the Dark Order and Evil Uno. Now, obviously, Rob Van Dam and Hook win. There's really no question that the Dark Order was ever going to win. They haven't been anything but jobbers since Brody passed. And it doesn't look like they're going to be anything but jobbers until, I guess, Brody comes back from the dead. It's Halloween. Could be time. Maybe they'll resurrect him on November 1st on All Saints Day. Dia de la Muerta and Samhain. All in one.
I do like seeing Dark Order on Dynamite.
Oh, yeah.
Even if they're not going to win, they're still very entertaining tag team. Silver and Reynolds.
They're
and
amazing.
Uno. You could Freebird rule with those guys. So, yeah, they are good. I don't know where how much RVD is going to be used. I heard that his WrestleMania appearance was canceled by WWE because he was at AEW. So now he's doing more stuff with AEW. So I don't know. I guess he'll continue to hang out with Hook and see who the next FTW challenger is going to be.
The best part about RVD is WWE told him it was all right. Then he did it. Then they said, no, you're not going to be here at WrestleMania.
Just to jump.
Yeah, please.
I was going to say, just to jump back. So we got Sting, Darby, Edge is a wild card. We got Billy, Christian, Luchasaurus. So we got 3 on. Well, we got Ric Flair now is with the Sting side.
Billy?
No. So did I meant Nick.
Okay. I was like, Billy?
So
okay.
So if Jack Perry comes back, can he get involved in this whole mess between Edge and Christian and Sting and Darby? Like, could Jack Perry slot into this somehow?
He could, sure. Because he's got the history with Christian, because he's got the history with Luchasaurus, because he is young and up and coming and he could teach Nick Wayne stuff, sure. But, I'm hot and cold on Luke Perry at this point. He had a ton of potential. He's got the Hollywood looks and connections and all of that. But I don't know. Is he over? Is he getting over? Is he good?
I mean, he was certainly over in his tag team with Luchasaurus, Jurassic Express, when they were teaming with Marco. But he kind of fell short when he tried to do a singles run as a face. They ended up turning him heel because of that, I think. And then his heel run has been cut short because of his Cry Me a River comment that ended up getting CM Punk fired. I do want a Jack Perry Cry Me a River shirt. I would love to have. I would wear that proudly to AEW shows.
I can make that for you, right? That's not a problem. I can make that happen.
You could have the emo logo on it.
Yep.
And
We could put it for sale in our show. By the way, if you go to EliteMarkOrder.com, it's brand new again. You can click on Join the Discord. You can join the conversation. You can come listen to the podcast live. Or you could even go to the store and buy our shirts. And we will have a Christian shirt. We are not Christian. We will have a Jungle Boy shirt. I'm writing it down right now. Cry me a river, Jungle Boy shirt. See, now I'm going to make it, and then we're going to sell it, and it'll be your fault.
Are you going to sell it on the shirt on Zazzle?
Yeah, it'll be a Zazzle once I get it all designed and ready to upload and get it taken care of, make it look good. Because
So our listeners have to stay on this because once our Zazzle shirts are gone, they're gone. I believe the original one sold out, or do we still have a few available?
I believe that they go to Zazzle.com/store/EliteMarkOrder or just search for Elite Mark Order. They'll be able to bring up the store. And I am happy to report we have restocked since they sold out. So you can still order them at any time. Zazzle is pretty amazing. That's Zazzle, ZAZZLE.com/store/EliteMarkOrder. Now, I may not have actually gotten that address correct, but it is down below in the description. I will go ahead and make sure that it's there. You can click on the current t-shirt we have, and we will soon have Crimea River from Jungle Boy up for sale. Anyways.
Nice. And that URL does work because I'm at the site now.
Fantastic. So there you go. That's
All
the
right.
Elite Mark Order store. And that means you can support us just by buying a couple of shirts. They're really cool. The Elite Mark Order shirt's pretty badass. So during the commercial break, we had RJ City and Tony Storm doing another silent film. I kind of like this stuff. It's entertaining for the commercial. It's also better on the fight stream where you don't have the commercial and you get to actually see the full screen and the interaction. It's goofy, it's fun, but this is the best character they have in the women's division. And if Tony Storm doesn't win against Sheta, I would be extraordinarily surprised. That said, I just want her to continue doing this stuff. I don't care if she wins the belt. As a matter of fact, losing the belt caused this character. So I don't want her to win. She's fucking mental, and I love it. I just want to hear your idea on Tony Storm. This is actually women getting camera time and maximizing it in a new and unique way. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I like the Norma Desmond shtick for her. It seems like it's the most entertaining work I've seen from her. I'm not like a huge fan of it, but I guess it's fine. People do seem to like it, so hey, just go with it. And I think it could work with or without the title. Just because she gets it back doesn't mean that she has to go back to her normal self. So, but I like the idea of her being a challenger for it. So yeah, and it's just the match, the women's match tonight. I don't know what they're gonna do next here.
Yeah, that was definitely something we're gonna want to talk about here in a minute. I've got a lot to say about that. All right. Do you want to talk about them, or do we want to wait?
Let's go back to the show.
Okay, so we'll just follow along with the script because the next segment is Ric Flair, and we talked a lot about Ric Flair, which included a "fuck you, Christian" chant. By the way, I thought that was brilliant. Christian worked the crowd brilliantly. The interaction with all these legends is only helping raise the stock of Lucha and Nick, and I cannot stress that I love all this. And I really think that they're doing a good job in working with all the legends. Speaking of legends, Ring of Honor World Six-Man Championship, the Elite versus the Hardys and Isaiah. Now, Mark Quinn is still out. He's still hurt. So Isaiah's been paired up with the Hardys. I think this works. I think it's been working. It was working when it was Matt and the Private Party as that trio. Now it's working with him and Jeff back together with Isaiah as Mark Quinn is hurt. I think Isaiah's getting a ton of, again, rub from legends. This is what AEW does the best. And is just give him a chance to be on TV and look good and build his character and be a crazy, weird freaky, screaming wrestler who does a lot of fun moves. The Elite won. They looked great. Hangman hit a couple of crushing clotheslines, including a flying clothesline from the top rope, the buckshot lariat. They just they beat Isaiah Cassidy up, especially at the end. And then they just stuffed him with a BTE Elite trigger and pinned him. It was a good, fun match. The crowd loved it. It was entertaining. And I will say the Elite did, specifically Matt, did different combinations than I'd seen in a while. He did a corner-to-corner move, and they kept changing the camera, so I was kind of annoyed at that. But he hit a move in one side on the corner, run across, do another move, run across, do a move, run across, cannonball. I thought that was a fun sequence. I hadn't seen him do it before. They got a little bit more innovative. It was a fun match. The crowd loved it. Give me your breakdown of the Elite crushing the Hardys and Cassidy. Or maybe not.
I mean, it was good to see the Elite defending the ROH titles. It was a fun match. I mean, it's what you would expect from a Bucks Hangman match. Just good action. So, some good near falls. I don't think this advanced any storylines or anything that I noticed. So yeah, it was a successful defense, and I was glad to see them on TV. Always enjoy watching the Elite.
There was a storyline. You may remember after the match. Swerve Strickland broke into Hangman's house and threatened his child? Is that what happened? I mean, first of all, it probably was Hangman's house. Clearly nobody was home. This is kayfabe, this is set up. But he walked through, he tore a picture down off he tore a child's picture off the fridge and tore it up. He went up into the house, the bedroom with the crib, and then laid a shirt down and talked to the empty crib as if there was a child there. This was disturbing. What the hell? Home invasion? The crime counter over on Ups and Downs is going to go through the roof at this rate. What is up with that segment, Jay?
I think that could fall under most disgusting promotional tactic. It could be a candidate for it. It's not the worst thing. I mean, can't they come up with something a little more creative for Swerve than to break into someone's house, breaking and entering? I mean, come on.
They did. Not only did they do it with Nick Wayne already, but this is, I hate to say it, pretty fucking stereotypical if you want to break it down that way.
Yeah, it's
and by the way, most disgusting is the Katie Vick rape. Let's be true. Let's be honest. The Kate Vick over on WWE is the most disgusting angle they've ever come up with.
I'm not even aware of
that was the dead body that he
with Kane. Was it Kane?
No, it was Triple H dressed with the Kane mask that humped the dead body. Yeah. That was the most. That was vile. This is pretty close. But we've seen home invasions. We've seen home invasions. So I'm okay with it because, we've seen it. But what the fuck are they thinking with this?
Let's just be a little more creative.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason for Swerve to have to go around breaking into people's houses and hope the police aren't called. I mean, come on, do better.
Not happy with that at all.
I'm surprised that Swerve
agreed to it or thought it up.
Exactly. Well, I think guys do have a degree of creative
freedom,
but in AEW that they don't at other companies. But yeah, I think Swerve. I just don't think that was
whoever came up with the brainstorm session. This one should have been crossed the fuck out. And then I don't. Mm-hmm, please.
I'm never a fan of wrestlers' kids being involved in storylines unless they're older. Like if they're 18, fine. They can go out there, they can get in a ring, they're training, fine. But having minors involved in storylines and threatening to harm minors or kidnap minors, no. Let's be a little more creative than that.
Not just minors, but like literal infants in a crib.
Yep. Yep.
You know, it's one thing like with Christian with the little girl who was one of the wrestler's daughters. I don't remember who it was. And he interacted with her a couple of times. It might even have been his own daughter. It was Jack Perry, and it was Christian's daughter. So the interaction on screen looked bad, but behind the scenes you realized it was fine. She was a plant. This is just not acceptable, and I think we're going to just leave it at that. It was unacceptable. Do better.
Yep.
Speaking of do better, the women's match, Ruby Soho and Hikaru Shida. Now, when she came out, Ruby did not get a huge response. Okay, fine. Shida did. She's very popular. There was a Shida man, or, you know, Shida is a very popular champion and wrestler. This was dreadful. It was slow. They started off with what I thought was supposed to be a counter after counter, but it was just them doing standing switches, which could have been... Whoever produced this match needs a talking to, because it was not good. It was boring. The audience was silent.
Yeah, I think something was going on here. It seemed to me like Ruby Soho was just not even interested in participating in the match because she wasn't happy with losing or something. And I don't know. I really don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Ruby in a while after this, because it seemed like she was really off. And just the whole booking of the match, like whoever produced that.
Yeah,
you know,
they need to rethink it, because it just didn't come across well. It was slow, pondering. They had a couple of really, really bad moves that they hit each other with that just garbage. The roll around the ring, I know it's popular. It when done correctly, it's fun. Oh, it was such a fucking diarrhea shit of a match. Now, thankfully, Shida won. They didn't give the title to Soho, but God, there were a couple of times like I don't know, Soho couldn't even come close to winning the match if she didn't have 3 separate types of cheating. Right. This is another example of do better. Shida could have, I don't know, maybe Ruby Soho is just a failed experiment. Maybe she is. You know, it happens. There are how many football players you could probably name that got drafted high that were just complete fucking blowouts after a couple of years. Right? Got to be a couple. I don't know.
Yeah, Achilles Smith, Cincinnati.
There you go.
Is the one that who's the guy? Ryan Leaf in San Diego was...
Ryan Leaf, horrible. Yeah, I was a San Diego fan. Ryan Leaf's a name that's in fucking infamy, that's for sure.
Or crying.
Yeah, well, let's not talk about nicknames or I'll start bringing up Karen Rogers.
Okay.
So, yeah, fortunately Shida won, but what a terrible match. Toni Storm is challenging Shida at Full Gear. I really don't know what way they're going to go with that. So, anyways, the last match was Orange Cassidy and Okada, which we have covered at length. So, I want to go ahead and check the chat, see if there's any comments that maybe people want to talk about a little bit. Because, you know, you can send in your comments just by joining the Discord. Yep. Over at EliteMarkOrder.com, click on Join the Discord. It'll send you right on over. We'd be happy to hear what you have to say. Or you can just leave your comments down below. We always have a lot of fun comments over in the Discord, a lot of backstage news, updates, things like that. Jay, before we sign off, do you have any last thoughts on the show or anything in general?
Full Gear is November 18th, so we have 6 shows between now and then. Saturday, November. Does that mean Collision's canceled on November 18th, or are they going to run them at the same time?
I would imagine the pay-per-view is going to be on the Sunday.
No, it's Saturday. from what I'm seeing here.
Then they're
Saturday.
gonna move it to Friday.
Let's see. Yeah,
They're gonna move Collision to Friday. Either that or they move it to Sunday, which makes even less sense.
Well, if you go to awtix.com, it'll have the Collision probably on Friday night.
Sure.
Maybe they'll do a live Rampage and then tape Collision.
Maybe.
Yeah, 17th is Collision and Rampage on the Friday before, so then Saturday will be Full Gear. I always like the Saturday night shows because you don't have to worry about work on Sunday, or at least some of us don't. So, yeah, Full Gear is Adam Page's, it's Hangman's show. So I don't know if maybe he'll be elevated to do something cool at this pay-per-view.
We can hope.
We can hope.
All right.
But I think, all right, yeah, I think that's all I got for tonight. We weren't able to get the show out for the last couple of weeks, so it's good to be back.
Yeah, apologies for everybody, but here we are. We even did it immediately after the show. We did it under an hour. Jay, this is probably our best show yet.
I don't know about that,
Okay.
but yeah, it's good to get this out there. And fun doing the show right after Dynamite too, when everything's fresh.
I kind of like this. I like this. Maybe we'll be able to keep doing this. We'll see. But anyways, thank you so much for joining us again. This has been the Elite Mark Order podcast. I'm Cosmic Scott. That's been JV. Go to Elite Mark Order EliteMarkOrder.com and join us in the Discord. Don't forget, it's JJ for life. Yeah, I've muted us over on my recording. So it's... All right, well, I will go ahead and get this out.